Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Wednesday, October 28, 2015. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. A 4% salary increase for teachers and public servants here was among 14 announcements made by Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, in his independence message to the nation yesterday. The Prime Minister says of the among 2.5% tax-free salary increase retroactive January 1st, 2015 is to be paid on December 18th, 2015 at a cost of some 7 million EC dollars. He said the remaining 1.5% salary increase will come in early 2016. The announcement of the salary increase by the Prime Minister signifies the first increase that his administration will pay to public sector workers since 2011.
My government has determined, after consultation with the public sector trade unions, to grant an increase in salaries and wages for all categories of workers, pensionable and non-pensionable, in the public service for the year 2015, retroactive to January the 1st, 2015. This increase is at 2.5% and it is tax-free. The cost to the Treasury amounts to approximately $7.25 million. This wage and salary increase will be paid, this back pay will be paid in the December 2015 pay packet. It will be paid on Friday, December the 18th, 1 week before Christmas. In January 2016, there will be a further wage salary enhancement of 1.5% from January next year, to add on top the 2.5.
The Prime Minister also announced that the statutory mechanics will review the minimum wage for all categories of workers, and those recommendations will result in an increase in minimum wages for the new year. He further announced plans to create a number of senior graduate teaching posts from a total of 65 to just under 100 in order to facilitate upward mobility to what he deems as beneficiaries of his government's education revolution.
Similarly, the young, the old, women and men, the poor and the indigent have been within the targeted compass of our government's public policies. We continue to elaborate and implement policies and programs in all these respects and more. Accordingly, today, I seek your leave to make 14 announcements of relevance. First, the government recently established the statutory mechanisms to review minimum wages for all categories of workers. Cabinet is expected to receive the recommendations in the new year, which will surely result in an increase in minimum wages for the workers of this country.
Another major announcement made by the Prime Minister is that all nursing assistants across the country will be made pensionable. He also spoke of the annual road cleaning program, which he says will commence soon at a cost of 3 million EC dollars.
My government will continue to pay these nursing students a monthly stipend of $1,000 while providing them with a free professional education. The only place in the Caribbean that does that. Eighth, in my government's 2016 budget, to be delivered in January 2016, we will accord all nursing assistants the status of pensionable public servants. They deserve it. They will thus be put on the same footing in this regard as registered nurses. I want to thank the 2 nursing assistants who spoke to me about this matter just over a week ago when I visited the hospital to look at some injured persons on the female surgical ward.
Another of the announcements made by the Prime Minister is that over $20 million will be pumped into the education sector for scholarships and other assistance to students at the tertiary level. He also highlighted that his administration is closer to achieving its 2025 goal of having at least one university graduate per household.
At least 100 specially designed loans to our university students under the economically disadvantaged student loan program, and assorted scholarships, grants, and payment of economic costs to dozens more of our young people going to university. Over $20 million will be spent directly by the government next year on post-secondary and tertiary education. Currently, we have 2,500 students at our community college and over 1,000 pursuing university education through the efforts of our government. We are on target to achieve one college or university graduate on an average per household by the year 2025.
The Prime Minister also announced 14 additional sporting and cultural ambassadors who will be given diplomatic passports. And Deputy Governor General Susan Duggan is calling on Vincentians to overcome their divisions and unify to build this nation. Duggan, who delivered the independence address to the nation in the absence of Governor General Sir Frederick Ballantyne, who is in the United States recovering from surgery, says that persons need to value their differences more and not let it tear them apart. The Deputy Governor General also reminded Vincentians to respect themselves and the symbols of their Vincentian heritage.
We should also be cognizant of treating each other with respect, behaving politely, valuing differences of opinion, being courteous and welcoming to visitors to our shores, and joining with our brothers and sisters to build a nation of which we will all be proud. In short, by overcoming divisions in the past and working selflessly together on common goals for our national development. It is, however, clear that several ills are beginning to erode the fabric of our society, including disrespect for authority and property, negative messages disseminated through talk radio and social media, intolerance, ill discipline, rise in criminal activities, and disregard for the symbols of our identity, for example, our national anthem, flag, and the pledge.
Duggan also called on citizens to contribute more to making this country progressive.
We therefore must now ask ourselves, what are we contributing individually and collectively to produce a model nation? One in which future generations will work and live in harmony and are given the support, motivation, and tools to achieve to their maximum potential. Are we striving for the common good by putting aside petty grievances and moving forward with dignity, being proud of working hard and smart, while seizing the opportunities for social and economic development?
In other news, many Vincentians waited with bated breath last evening for Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves to announce the date for general elections at the Unity Labour Party's independence rally on his home soil in Connery, but it did not go as they hoped. In his address to party supporters, Dr. Gonsalves says that he will not announce the election date until he feels that he has put everything in place for his administration's historic four-term victory. The ULP leader also noted that he does not want election atmosphere interfere with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs benefit concert in aid of Dominica, which was devastated by Tropical Storm Erica. The concert is scheduled for this Sunday, November 1st at the Victoria Park.
You can't expect me to call the election before we have the concert for Dominica. I don't want election politics to cause any difficulty with the concert which we are holding next week Sunday night at Victoria Park, which Camilo, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and a number of other individuals and agencies are organizing. And I want us to be there in our very large numbers on Sunday night at Victoria Park to support Dominica, because we have to look out for our brothers and sisters when they are in distress. Because when we are in distress, we want others to lend a helping hand to us. That is labor love.
The Prime Minister further hinted that the election date could be announced anytime after the Dominica Benefit Concert.
After next week Sunday, I tell you, any morning you get up, you could feel it that that is the day.
Cause we came here to light up, we came here to burn the night away, push everything right up.
I want to say something to you. Before the ULP bandwagon got on the roll, you heard the NDP asking me to ring the bell. The last thing they want me to do now is to ring the bell. You know, it's one thing for them to grant charge. It's another thing when the event is almost upon us that they're getting real scared.
On the eve of this country's 36th year of independence, residents of Georgetown and surrounding areas, along with government officials and well-wishers, witnessed the reopening of the Carroll River Bridge. The bridge, which was affected by the floods of April 2012 and December 2013, was presented as an independence gift by this country's Prime Minister and Area Representative Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. The bridge was designed and constructed by engineer Raphael Codro and Bailey's Constructors in association with the Ministry of Works. Addressing the gathering at the opening ceremony on Monday, Minister of Housing and Lands and MP for North Windward, Montgomery Daniel, congratulated the work of the local engineers, contractors, financial partners, and other persons for their role in making the bridge, which is said to be the work of 100% Vinci, a great success.
We have seen transformation not only in infrastructure development, but we've seen transformation in education, in housing, in telecommunications, and as much as energy. And so, this government must be commended for the insight and the foresight it has in improving this country of ours, St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Noting that the bridge, which will be used mainly as road connection to villagers and pedestrians alike and a place to socialize, the Prime Minister in his address spoke of the hard work of the Chief Engineer Brent Bailey and his team in providing a major improvement to the bridge.
You notice that we have some river defenses on both sides, here and down here, up and down, upstream and downstream. But we still have more river defenses to do downstream, because we have to make sure that when the river overflows its banks again, because you have to build it with the knowledge and the expectation that the river will come down again. But when it come down this time, it ain't going to come over and create problems, it going to go under. And that is why we make it higher. And this is a magnificent bridge, no question about it, and his money well spent.
Dr. Gonsalves furthermore noted that the government plans to enhance the road network as well as other infrastructure in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He told the gathering while they must plan for unexpected events, they also have to plan for the country's future.
Over 2 cricket pitch length of land that the sea has already taken, because we are on the northeastern coast, the Atlantic coast. And I have to protect Georgetown like how we protected Layou, and we have to do the coastal defense properly. And when we're doing it, the idea is it can be done in a manner in which it becomes easier for us to have water sports in this part of the country, because there are a lot of people who would like to do surfing. You see, you have to have a concept, you have to have an idea of development, you have to have a compelling developmental narrative in order for us to be able to move the country forward.
Speaking of recent deterioration of infrastructure, not only in SVG due to natural disasters, Chief Engineer Brent Bailey in his address at the opening of the Caratal Bridge highlighted the importance of having a hydraulic capacity report featured in any engineering study. Bailey said that in the event where such a report is absent, it could lead to roads, bridges and tunnels not being built to resist watershed.
If I may, a hydraulic study is where we, the engineers, we develop maps of the watershed. We utilize both topographic maps and aerial maps to basically get an idea of the type of coverage that is on the ground, the number of buildings, the agricultural cover, the forestry cover. We utilize rainfall information that was obtained from CWSA's rain gauges. We got information of tidal ranges, because the tides and what sort of waves that are impacting at the ends of the rivers also impact upon our designs.
Noting that such a study is not cheap, the chief engineer said, given the concerns with capacity, the new Caratal Bridge along with the recently reopened Hope Bridge were reanalyzed and had their original designs changed. The Caratal Bridge now features ramps and additional drainage with Gabion River defenses.
In addition to that, we provided additional protection to the foundations of the abutments by putting in piles to the bridge abutments, and that is effectively to alleviate the condition that you would see at most bridges where the flow of the river water erodes away at the toe of the foundation and leaves a big gaping hole underneath. And as such, as a protective measure, we installed six foot long piles under the foundation, and again, this is not something that ourselves, the engineers, and Mr. Bailey, the contractor, and the other persons working on the project will know is there. This is not something the public will see, but this is a feature, a safety, an additional safety feature of this project.
Bailey further noted the importance of addressing the issue of coastal erosion, especially in the area from Lanley Park to the Georgetown Plain Field and to the Grand Stable River, where he says shows that the Atlantic Ocean has been eroding the coastlines at a rate of 6 feet, 1.5 meters per year.
If we do not address this activity, all the good work that we have done and the monies that we have invested on this bridge can be, in 10 to 15 years, erode all that progress that we have made. And as such, the Ministry of Works has to address this.
This country has further strengthened its relationship with the Kingdom of Morocco with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding on the establishment of political consultation mechanism. At the ceremony, which took place earlier today at the Foreign Affairs Conference Room, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mohammed Ben Jalamin, says he is pleased by the initiative. Ambassador Ben Jalami says the agreement will also tap into expertise ranging in areas such as trade and science.
Today bears a particular importance insofar as the signature with His Excellency Camilo Gonzalez of the Memorandum of Understanding establishing a mechanism of political consultation is yet another reinforcement of the legal framework of our bilateral relations. It is true that the channels of dialogue and consultation between Morocco and St. Vincent and the Grenadines have always existed, especially within the United Nations and other international fora. The addition that this MOU will bring is that it will offer officials of both countries the opportunity to meet regularly to discuss in depth ways and means to further develop their relations in various sectors. Just want to add that although it is a memorandum on political consultations, it will be extended to issues and sectors such as trade, technical cooperation, scientific cooperation, and the like. To conclude, just want to say that the relations between the Kingdom of Morocco and St. Vincent is a successful example of South-South cooperation that will continue to grow and expand for the benefit of our peoples.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Senator Camilo Gonzalez expressed gratitude to the government and people of Morocco and says although they have had relationships since 1988, he is pleased that they can further tap into technical and other areas of expertise.
If you leave it at that level, the relationship will ebb and flow, because you can't expect the Prime Minister to visit another country annually or every 6 months or something like that. It may be years before another visit of that type takes place, and we can't wait for these high-level visits to happen. And a lot of the agreements that take place at the level of prime ministers or heads of state or heads of government have to be implemented by technical people. So when we reach a particular level of agreement, of friendship, of cooperation, it's always very useful for us to establish a mechanism for regular consultation, not only at the high level, but by the technical experts who are often charged with putting these agreements in place. It's one thing for two heads of government to shake hands and say, yes, we want to help one another in education. They are not going to be the ones themselves who will make that happen.
In other news, Evan Sanchon and a Trinidadian national are behind bars on remand after being charged with the murder of British-born attorney Richard Wheeler and his wife in Tobago last week. Napiji Hills, a 23-year-old Vincentian who has been living in Tobago for the past 3 years, and 29-year-old Trinidadian Andrew Romeo appeared in the Scarborough Magistrate Court and were remanded in custody until November 24th. It was the first court appearance for the two construction workers since they were charged on Monday evening for the murders, which occurred sometime between October 18th and October 21st. A woman who was also arrested with the duo was questioned in connection with the murders but was released pending further investigations. Wheeler, 73, a British national who was a senior partner with Lex Caribbean, was shot several times and on his hand and hands, while his 67-year-old Trinidadian wife, a real estate agent, had her throat slit at their home in the middle-class neighborhood of Riseland Gardens, Tobago. The wife was found on the lawn while her husband was discovered inside the house. The police have launched an investigation into the death of motorcyclist Kenron Sutherland of Georgetown, who died yesterday after crashing into a minibus at Diamond shortly after 4 p.m. The police say preliminary investigations show that Sutherland, 60 years old, was traveling from Annisville to Georgetown when he met a truck that had stopped in the corner at Diamond Gap, the route which heads to the landfill. It is reported that the truck had stopped on the left-hand side of the road, the same section of the road that Sutherland was traveling on. Reports claim that Sutherland passed the truck, lost control, and crashed into minibus HL594 driven by Lester Jackson of Diamond, which had already stopped. He sustained serious injuries. Sutherland was rushed to Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries at 7:35 p.m. There have been 12 road accidents this year, which resulted in the deaths of 20 persons. Roderick Bascom, fondly called Daddy Bass by his friends, is St. Vincent and the Grenadines' newest centenarian. He joined a unique club of centenarians here at home and the world over when he celebrated his 100th birthday on Sunday, October 25th, 2015. On the eve of his birthday, the Stubbs Seventh-day Adventist Church held a celebration service spearheaded by Brian Davis and his team at Stubbs to mark Bascom's milestone achievement. He sang a hymn and gave God thanks for sparing his life. He was showered with gifts and a trophy. He also received a visit at his home from the Governor General's deputy, Susan Duggan, on Sunday, October 25, 2015. Bacchus was one of the driving forces that helped to spread the Seventh-day Adventist message in the community of Stubbs and later played a significant role in building the Stubbs Seventh-day Adventist Church. He used his own resources to purchase the lands for the church and his skills to construct the building. Over the years, he led the church as a first elder and served in the field as a literature evangelist, spreading God's word throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Caribbean.